What's up, guys? I just got finished watching Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and that was a pretty. I don't really know what to say about it. It's not the worst. Actually, let's put it this way. Okay, so the Sam Raimi vibes are pretty much there, right? And that was very much present in the dialogue, the camera zoom in thing that Sam Raimi does. It really feels like a Sam Raimi film. Like, it almost feels like I'm watching a Doctor Strange version of a Spider-Man movie, or a Spider-Man 2000 version of Doctor Strange. And let's just dive into it. It's just my initial thoughts and my review. So essentially, the movie starts off with Doctor Strange, attending Christine Palmer's wedding. He's not marrying her. He's there to essentially, as a friend. And I think that was what kind of kicked off the whole story, where initially, the guy, the surgeon guy, I don't remember what his name was, the surgeon guy that he always outsmarted in the first one, he's back in this one. And basically he tells Doctor Strange that, hey, yeah, this and that happened, and now my life's terrible. My brother is dead. My dog's dead. He literally said that, actually. I'm not joking. And what happened was he ended up asking Strange, do you think what you did was right? So essentially, the whole blip, it was all kind of Strange's plan, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for him. There's a whole bunch of questions I have, like, logically now, after, watching the Loki series. There's a lot of questions that I do have, but that's probably for a different time. I'm still, gathering my thoughts on that. And essentially, back to the story. So what happened was, he ends up saving a girl named America Chavez, who has the power to jump through dimensions, essentially, jump through different multiverses. And this girl is played by I don't want to butcher just search it up on IMDb. She's played by a pretty cool actress. She's new. I think her name is Xochitl Gomez, and I think that she's great as Miss America, or America Chavez. And she also has a pretty good backstory, which is also revealed throughout the movie. And we kind of get what happened, like, towards midway, I would say, when they travel to another dimension, because they're running away from Scarlet Witch. And essentially, I'm not really doing that good of a job explaining it, but essentially what happened was, now he has to save America Chavez from Wanda, who wants to absorb her powers. And I think, assuming the way they're making it sound like she's gonna die if this happens, and Wanda's just doesn't care, or she does care, but her knowledge, her kind of reasoning for this is basically, she says that she's dangerous because she can't control it, but she's being controlled by the Darkhold, basically. So everything she's done, she's just being like, she's not being possessed in any way. I think it's kind of, it goes both ways. It's kind of sad that they kind of just threw away her character and made her like a complete villain. While on the other hand, it's good that they didn't play on that trope again, because they do that a lot, like with Bucky, and I think that we're just not gonna do that anymore. And basically, she's the bad guy of the movie. She kills a lot. She kills a lot in this movie. And back to what I was saying. So they travel to, like, kind of this utopia almost. I would say utopia, but in this world, Doctor Strange is dead. So he goes to the Sanctum, seeks out the help of the new Sorcerer Supreme. By the way, Wong in the main universe, or the 616 universe, they actually name drop that in this movie, that they're the 616 universe, which means that they're the main universe, which kind of makes me wonder what the comics is technically like, what universe the comics in, or is it in the same continuity? I don't know. Back to what I was saying. So Wong is now a Sorcerer Supreme, yada yada. They kind of made that clear. And Wanda goes off on a killing spree, killing a whole bunch of people. And, that's what happened. And on the other side of that, Strange and America Chavez are on another universe seeking out the help of that universe's Sorcerer Supreme, which happens to be Baron Mordo or Carl Mordo, and that's actually a joke in the movie. And basically, Carl kind of drugs them in a way, and he takes them to the lair. This is where the movie kind of gets really good, I would say. Really freaky, but really good at the same time. So he's introduced to the Illuminati. So they capture him and say that the Doctor Strange of this world is actually, he didn't die. Basically in this world he's being hailed as like the person who saved everybody from Thanos. He sacrificed himself from Thanos. But the Illuminati, okay, so let me say who the Illuminati consists of. The Illuminati consists of Captain Marvel, who's actually Michael Rambeau's mom. I forgot what her name was. Captain Carter, that's pretty cool. Whatchamacallit? Who else? Yep, Baron Mordo. And like 3 other characters that's pretty crazy to me. Number one, the King of the Inhumans himself, Black Bolt. That's pretty crazy. In and of itself. Like if they were to just have done that, right? He's in the movie, played by Anson Mount, who actually played him in the TV show. So I think that's pretty cool. And second, we got Patrick Stewart back as Charles Xavier. So essentially in this universe, they all coexist. And it's all kind of canon. But the thing that blew my mind completely, like, I was completely blindsided by this. This is fan casting. You know, the level of fan casting that this kind of reaches is the same as John Bernthal as the Punisher. He was cast, and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. John Krasinski has been cast in this movie as Mr. Fantastic, or should I say he's in this movie as Mr. Fantastic. I think it's pretty crazy because, you know, I'm gonna get into another video for this, but this is crazy because it's the first time we're getting not only the X-Men, not only the Inhumans in a Marvel movie, you know, an MCU movie, because Inhumans is a show it's ran by Marvel TV. If you guys don't know this, it's technically set in the MCU, but it's not officially canon. Now it is in a way in another universe. And also Charles Xavier, you know, played by Patrick Stewart, is in this with the whole yellow wheelchair, and essentially they're playing the same characters. In here though, something I would like to compare, because I haven't seen the whole entirety of the Inhuman series, but in that Black Bolt is a bit more humble. In this one, he's a bit more cocky, and he's definitely a bit more cocky. You know, you can definitely tell in the nuances. And Mr. Fantastic here, I was expecting him to be more of that kind of egotistic kind of smart guy, but he wasn't. I think it was to make it more contrasted to Doctor Strange himself, who is cocky in this movie. And so basically Wanda just storms in there and just kills all of them in like the worst way possible. I don't even want to get into the details. Just watch the movie, I guess. I'm telling you the whole plot summary anyway, but at some point I'm probably just gonna just give you the whole synopsis. Basically, I'm telling you all the main epic points. The rest of it, now I'm not gonna tell you what happens next. You're gonna have to see it. Okay. They introduced a lot of new concepts in this movie that I do think, I will get into this in another video or in another podcast. I do think that it's going to have implications on the MCU moving forward in the far future. They're more focused on other things right now. The multiverse is definitely going to be a concept that they will tackle in future Avengers movies. Now, I think that they have a hierarchy of importance at the moment. If you were to watch Eternals, if you were to watch Loki, that might give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But I will, like I said, I will talk about it in another video because there's way too much to talk about on that end. This movie introduced a lot of things, a lot of new concepts. And I think that this movie is definitely the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Iron Man 2, the Avengers Age of Ultron of this phase. Like if you look at movies like Shang-Chi, The Eternals, those are more self-contained movies. This movie did a lot to subtly, but also not so subtly, introduce all of these characters and all of these concepts that will definitely come back in the future, in future movies. As you know, they are making movies based on some of these characters, and I think that this was kind of to ease the audience, although I think it was kind of not the best way to go about it. Not the best way to go about it, simply because I get that you are trying to make Wanda this powerful character, but at the same time, you're undermining these heroes who haven't been introduced yet in the movie side of things, right? Like Inhumans, Black Bolt, Professor X, and Mr. Fantastic. You're undermining these characters just to give way for this OP character, right? So when you watch future movies of them, you're like, oh, this guy is such a wimp. He was taken out by Scarlet Witch. Granted, Scarlet Witch is very powerful, and that's what they wanted to show. But whenever I'm going to watch those future movies, I'm always going to look back on this moment and say that, oh man, this guy got obliterated in the worst way possible. The first time I ever saw him in the MCU. Now, the only way they may have some tricks up their sleeve. They might do some things and among those things is, recasting. But like, why recast John Krasinski? He's perfect. That's one of my favorite parts of this movie. Okay. So, yeah, essentially the story, like I said, it served too many masters in my eyes. But at the same time, I did enjoy Strange's he was a very likable character in this movie. He was super and we also got to dive deeper into his the way he thinks and the way that he handles things. But I feel like we did not get a resolution on anything. It was all superficial. It's like a flat arc. He's the person he was in the beginning of the movie is the same person he was in the end. So that's all I'm saying. Scarlet Witch, you waste the character, by the way. No depth. I mean, they just tried very hard to make her as dark as possible in this movie. And I think that all fans of Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch, should be appalled at how they handled this character. Not to mention what happened in the very end. Granted, with all the things she's done, alright, you might say that it's a fitting end. But for fans of Scarlet Witch, I'm not even a fan of Scarlet Witch, and I'm just appalled by how they handled her in this movie. It's just the worst thing, okay? So, and all the characters, I think America Chavez is probably one of my favorite characters in this movie. Okay. I think that Wong, yeah, there's a lot of things in this movie. There's a lot of things that are wrong, and if you watch it, you'll see a lot of plot armor, mainly plot armor, I would say. Plot armor, and I think that they didn't know what they were going for. So Kevin Feige said that, okay, so I want this to be the very first scary Marvel movie. Okay, I get it. But it wasn't really, it was too confused. It was trying to be a superhero movie, but at the same time, it was trying to be scary, and it wasn't really scary, But so moving on from, the story, the characters, the plot and all that, and what they were trying to do. The music was good. You heard at the beginning, you heard a bit of the theme from the first movie, but this movie kind of goes off on like a different, Danny Elfman was the one who helmed this, the music of this movie. And I think that the music was pretty good. It was pretty good when I was watching it, but, yeah, I think it was pretty good. And yeah, to close that off, on this movie, let's kind of think of how to end this properly, because I'm not going on any script here. This movie was, it was, it was entertaining. It was very entertaining to me, I think. But it was just a movie that, like I said, served too many masters. It's trying to set up things in a subtle way, but at the same time, it I wouldn't say directly affected kind of aspects of this movie that could have made it better, but maybe on that end, like maybe if they didn't put so much effort into to kind of setting all of these things up, maybe the story would be more coherent and more natural for Strange. Multiverse of Madness, it's a shot. It tries it very hard. In the title of it, in and of itself, is trying to deliver some sort of shock value. And when you watch the movie, there's a lot of these jump scares, a lot of these instances where you kind of get a feel that is what they were trying to do. But at the same time, Doctor Strange #1, like, I hate to compare it. Doctor Strange 1, that movie was, to me, one of the best Marvel movies. And they do the character justice. Basically, taking this man who thought of nothing but himself and now kind of thinking of the entirety of the universe as if it rested on his shoulders, which it does now, right? And in this movie, it's more self-contained. It's more a character, not self-contained. It's more character-driven, but we don't get as big of a progression from Strange. Rather, it justifies his actions. So it feels to me like it's a flat arc. And if I were to rate this movie, I don't even know if I'm gonna rate this movie. I don't know. I'm just gonna say that I hope they do better. I hope they do better in the third movie. And I don't know how they're gonna dig themselves out of the hole that they have just dug themselves into. And I'm gonna get more into this in future videos. I don't have like too much energy right now to get into it. But they definitely dug themselves a hole in this one. No denying about that. Thanks for watching, guys.